Hey guys, what's up? It's Flynn here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to farm Nova in Warframe in 2019. Now, Nova is definitely one of the better frames in the game, and one of the frames that I recommend that newer players aim to get, but the problem is the boss that she is kind of locked behind, so to speak, is pretty difficult for newer players. Now, it is the Raptor located on Nama on Europa, and the deal is you have to kill this boss pretty much 3 times in the one mission if you're doing it right, because he spawns in different versions of himself who has different attacks, and they're pretty damaging. He's got a higher armor value, which newer players are going to find surprising whenever they come up against him for the first time, because you're going to feel like you're literally dealing no damage. So we kind of have to find a workaround to that, and the workaround that I recommend to most players over the likes of, farming Rhino to use his buffing ability Roar, or shooting through a Vault's electric shield, is actually using Excalibur. Now, this might not make sense to you if you've already fought the Raptor, because it's a flying enemy and Excalibur is a melee Warframe, but there's a neat little trick that you can do with his Radio Blind ability that lets you deal massive damage at a range with a melee weapon known as the Redeemer, which is a Gunblade, which you are able to pick up pretty early. I think the Master Rank requirements for it is Master Rank 4. Don't quote me on that. The only downside is the barrier to entry to get it is actually pretty high, because you have to, farm up and craft multiple weapons to build the Redeemer, but you should be doing that anyway if you are playing the game the way that it's supposed to be played. So let's first go to the market and check out what we have to do to get the Redeemer. So if we go to the top left hand corner and we type in Redeemer, we go ahead and we click it. You can see Master Rank 4, so I was right in saying that. And to craft it, it requires the Vasto and the Dual Scanner. So you want to go out of your way to get one fully built Vasto and one fully built Dual Scanner. You want to take the Vasto, level it from 0 to 30 to get the Master XP, same with the Dual Scanner. And then once that's done, you want to get the Redeemer Blueprint, and then get the credits, get the Argon Crystals, which you can get from the Void, take your Vasto, take your Dual Scanner, and then make this, and then you'll be ready for this fight, as well as picking up the Excalibur Warframe. If you're struggling farming Excalibur, I made a video with that I'll put up in a card in the top right hand corner, which is just a video that shows you how to get Excalibur. You can get him very, very early from the boss on Mars, on War, Lich Krill. He's the first boss in the game that kind of has an immune phase, but he's really, really easy whenever you get the weapon known as the Boltor. But saying this is the first how to farm video where I show you guys using Excalibur, I'm going to go over a basic beginner build that I like to use, and I'm not going to be using anything super insane. Obviously, if you have the better versions of the mods that I'm using, go ahead and use them, because it's just going to make it a lot easier for you. But this is my beginner farming build, where we have Energy Siphon on here for energy regen, which you can get from Nightwave by farming up the Wolf credits, and then, or whatever type of credits it is at the minute, because Nightwave seasons should be changing soon, so it might be a different currency opposed to Wolf credits. I think that they should just keep the currency name one thing, though, to stop me from confusing players, or anyone else from confusing players whenever new Nightwave seasons come around. But you can get a currency from Nightwave, which is going to allow you to buy these aura mods, which you put on the aura slot. And I want you guys to pick up Energy Siphon. You can pick up Corrosive Projection, but you're going to need energy. So as a newer player, I would value Energy Siphon over Corrosive Projection, and then pick up Corrosive Projection whenever you get the end game type of thing. But we have Energy Siphon on here, then Vitality for our health, Redirection for more shields, so we're a little bit tanky and we don't die instantly. We've got Stretch on here, so our abilities, Radio Blind in this case, cover a wider range. Flow on here for more energy, because we need that, because if we want to use Exalted Blade, we want to have as much energy as possible. We got Streamline on here for more efficiency, meaning it's going to cost less energy to cast an ability. We got Intensify on here, so our abilities' effectiveness is a lot higher or greater, so we deal more damage with Exalted Blade or whatnot, or Slash Dash, Radial Javelin, and then Continuity, so the blind effect on a Radial Blind lasts a little bit longer. What I would really focus on is Vitality, Redirection, Stretch, Streamline, and Flow. You don't really need Intensify, because we're only going to be using Radial Blind. You can also use Exalted Blade in this, but it's a little bit finicky, and I'll show it whenever we get into the fight. What I mean by it's a little bit finicky. Now, like I mentioned beforehand, or maybe it was in a different recording of this video, because this is my third time attempting this, but you can actually use Vault's Electric Shield or Rhino's buffing ability known as Roar to just, sit there and shoot at the Raptor. But I feel that using Excalibur and the Redeemer tactic, using this specific build, building radiation damage by combining Shotgun Touch, Molten Impact, and then having a little bit of Toxin on there at the end, so you can deal a little bit more damage to those shielded units, and then Pressure Point for damage, for Fury for attack speed. You don't have to worry too much about the stance. The stance is just kind of there for style and different combos and whatnot, which does kind of increase your DPS in some scenarios, but you don't have to worry too much about it as a newer player. Having this here particular build is what I'd recommend. Whenever it comes to the Heck and the Lex, you don't necessarily need these, but these are two builds that I would recommend. So you have, again, Radiation and Toxin, Point Blank for your damage, and then if you have it, Hell's Chamber for multi-shot. Didn't put any ranks into this just to, you know, because it's a rare mod, it's going to take a lot more endo to rank up, and you might not have that available to you as a newer player. These elemental mods though, Point Blank, these should be pretty easy to rank up. Just keep these mods as high of a rank as possible and make sure to spread the ranks out evenly. So for every point you put into Point Blank, put one into Charged Shell, one into Incendiary Coat, one into Contagious Spread, and then if you can, Hell's Chamber, because that's going to help you out a lot as well, because multi-shot is great. But if you can't, don't worry too much about it. And then for my secondary, I'm using the Lex. Now, the secondary, you can use whatever you like, but I'm using Hornet Strike with, a flawed Hornet Strike with damage, 40% damage. Heated Charge for my heat damage, and then Convulsion Electricity. This makes for radiation. Papillon Rounds for our Toxin. Pretty much this exact same setup, or elemental combo setup on the Heck and the Redeemer. And then that's it. Exalted Blade, which is Excalibur's melee weapon. More or less the same thing as the Redeemer, except we've thrown on Organ Shatter, Volcanic Edge for more radiation damage, and you could probably throw that onto the Redeemer as well if you have the space, but because you may not have a stance mod, you know, that might not be an option for you, but, you know, that's totally fine. So it's just Pressure Point, Organ Shatter, Volcanic Edge, Shocking Touch, Fever Strike, Molten Impact. I should probably also put Fury on here as well. That would make a lot of sense too. So there you go. That's your Exalted Blade beginner farming build. And with all that being said, with all of the other Warframe farming videos, go to the market, type in Nova in the top left hand corner, press on her icon, press this little build symbol right here, purchase the blueprint for 35,000 credits. You see we need to get the Nova Neuroptics, Nova Chassis, and Nova Systems. We're going to get the blueprints for each of those components from the Raptor boss on Nama on Europa. So it's 32% chance for the Neuroptics, 32% chance for the Chassis, and 28% chance for the Systems. So the Systems is the rarest part. And you're going to get one part blueprint per run off this mission at the very end after you kill the boss. So we're just going to go ahead and jump in, wait for it to load up, and then we're just going to rush straight to the boss. You want to conserve as much energy as possible. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be blinding the boss with Excalibur's Radio Blind ability. And then what's going to happen is he's not going to be able to see us. And the Redeemer is a melee weapon, which also doubles as a shotgun. So check this out. We hold down our charge attack. We can let out a nice shotgun blast. And because it's a melee weapon and that counts as a charge attack, then what we can do is we can use the stealth bonus that we get from blinding the enemy with Radio Blind, or unaware bonus, whatever you want to call it. It's a stealth multiplier pretty much that you get on using your melee weapon. We can use that to get bonus damage on that charge up shot from the Redeemer. So I'll show you how it works whenever you get to the boss, or I can even demonstrate it here. So we blind the bad guy, we hold down E, and then he dies, and we get bonus damage. So that was 7,000 damage on the yellow number. So one thing I do want to mention, if you're a newer player watching this, every single time that you blind an enemy, like so, and then you do the charge up attack, you're going to see a yellow number, and usually yellow numbers would represent crits. That yellow number is just representing the fact that we are, you know, applying that stealth damage bonus, because I see a lot of people get confused whenever they're testing a Excalibur build and they're using Exalted Blade. Now, Exalted Blade doesn't have the highest crit chance in the world, but people come to the videos and they say, oh, well, my Exalted Blade has 100% crit chance, even though it doesn't say that on the stats menu, because they're blinding the enemies and you're just, you know, spamming E. So that's a place where a lot of players get confused and they think that they should build the Exalted Blade for all-out crit, whenever that's not really the case. You should be building Exalted Blade for status at endgame with the Chromatic Blade augment, but, you know, that's a topic for a different video. So we're nearing the boss now. This corridor is always going to lead you to the boss without fail. Gonna jump on through, kill as many bad guys as you can, get as much energy stocked up as you can in case you need it. Kill all these guys. Now, if you have your Redeemer, right, it's going to deflect enemy bullets, which is awesome as well. Let's go ahead and move on free here. He spawns in. I'll let you guys see the animation. Now, check this out. We walk up to him. We blind him. We look up at him. One shot. Easy peasy. So, that's the first stage. Let's go ahead and drop that in there. You got to pick that little thing up and then drop it in. Wait for the second one to spawn. I'll demonstrate Exalted Blade. If you try to hit it with the waves, sometimes for me it doesn't work. Now, this time we're getting lucky and it is working, but I've noticed sometimes whenever I'm trying to do this boss and I'm trying to use Exalted Blade, it only works if I'm super up close to him, and if I'm far away, I get a bunch of zeros. Like, he has to kind of be right up in your face. So honestly, you can use whichever method you want. You can use Exalted Blade and try to get as close to him as possible, or you can use the Redeemer and do the charge attack method. You know, it's really down to you. I prefer the charge attack method because, you know, that way my energy isn't draining per second whenever Exalted Blade is active. Because one thing that happened with the melee update is you can activate Exalted Blade and then you can shoot, and it's going to continue to drain energy even though you're not actually using your Exalted Blade, right? So you could, you know, unintentionally put yourself down to 0 energy without even noticing, right? So I like keeping my Exalted Blade turned off, and you can turn it off again even whenever you have your primary weapon out just by pressing 4 again and using the charge attack method just to conserve my energy, because you're going to one-shot things. Like, pretty much anything in this mission is a one-shot, implying you're copying the builds or have a build in some way, shape, or form similar. Like, just stacking that elemental damage on there. Like, you can make blast damage, for example, and still most likely 1 or 2 shot the raptor. So we got the chassis. That's a 32% chance to drop. We need to farm up the neuroptics and the systems blueprints, then take those to the foundry, craft them, and then craft the Nova Warframe whenever we have all 3 of those components. So I'll go to the foundry and show you guys what the crafting kind of looks like. So come down here to your foundry, click on the Warframe tab, type in Nova in the top left hand corner, craft the chassis. Do we have a systems? We do. So Nova chassis, Nova neuroptics, Nova systems, and they take 12 hours each. Because I have a lot of platinum, I'm just gonna go ahead and rush them just to kind of show you guys what it's like. Awesome. Now, if you're a newer player, you should not be rushing things. That's a bad idea. You see that we have 1 neuroptics, 1 chassis, 1 systems, okay, because we just crafted all 3 of them. We just go ahead, we press Nova. That's going to take 3 days to build. I'm going to go ahead and rush it again. Again, do not do this if you're a newer player. It says I need to buy a slot. We're going to go ahead, buy a slot. We're going to rush it, finish it. We get a Nova Warframe. We go to our arsenal. We press equip. We type Nova. And then there you go. We have a level 0 Nova. We go to the modding section. We've got a 2V polarities, 1 dash polarity. We haven't got any upgrades on. We haven't got any, you know, potatoes or anything like that there on the frame. It's just a blank frame. And then the capacity is going to be equivalent to your master rank. So because I'm master rank 26, it's got 26 capacity. So if you're master rank 2, it's going to have 2 capacity, whatever. But you should be, I would say, minimum master rank 4 or 5 before you get Nova. So, you know, that's a thing. But whenever it comes to getting the resources for crafting Nova, just go ahead and let's double check. We type in Nova again. We Morphix, Ferrite, Rubido, Neural Sensor, Alloy Plate, Polymer Bundle, Rubido, Plastis, Morphix, Salvage Control Module. What we can do is if we go to navigation and we choose a planet, let's say, for example, Saturn, and we go to resource drones, we can hover over this once Ortis goes away, and it's going to show us, you know, what resources we can get from each planet. I recommend doing defense missions because they spawn in a set amount of enemies, and, you know, how fast you go through those enemies are dependent on how efficient you are at killing. So just choose the frame and the set of weapons that you're most comfortable killing a bunch of enemies with, like your best loadout, and then jump into a defense mission and get through the waves as fast as possible. And if you have a buddy who has Necros, Hydroid, Korra, etc., anything that has some sort of loot rerolling augment type of thing, then I would recommend you asking them to bring that there into your defense mission to help you farm up plastids, polymer, ferrite, morphix, whatever it may be that you need to get. So, you know, Saturn is for the likes of nanospores, plastids, organ cells, etc. You got Jupiter. This is where you're going to get your neural sensors. And was that salvage? That was salvage, yep. And then you have Ceres for alloy plates, circuits, organ cells, whatever. Mars has got morphix, salvage, gallium, Phobos, Rubido, Morphix, plastids. So that's a lot of stuff there that you need. You know, all that stuff. You just have to go around the planets and use this little resource drone menu to find out which planet drops what. Do your defense mission there and try to get as much off that resource as possible. So that is pretty much it, guys. That is how you farm Nova in Warframe. If you guys enjoyed this video or learned anything from it, go ahead, hit the like button below. And if you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.